Firstly, we're very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
105 is an extraordinary age to reach in any case. But considering what your dad went through, how lucky was he?
They do say the harder I work, the luckier I get. He considered himself a professional fighter pilot and doing the right things, obeying orders and getting paid on Thursday was the way forward. And the point being is that getting shot down was not democratic. It could happen to the best person or the worst person, and it happened to my dad 4 times. I don't know whether they call that lucky, being shot down, but anyway, surviving is lucky.
Well, when you look at the detail of the luck, and he himself said that he had extraordinary luck. I mean, on one occasion, his parachute didn't open properly. That should have seen him off. But he actually bounced into a tree, bounced out again, and incredibly landed in a very soft, big pile of manure, farmyard manure. I mean, how lucky is that?
Well, he was flying very low, and the aeroplane had a reputation of if you bailed out, you're more likely to be decapitated because of the tailplane. So he actually misjudged how low he had to be in order to jump out. But he actually landed in the garden of Walter de la Mare, and they had drinks afterwards, and his co-pilot...
He was a writer, Walter.
Yeah, indeed. And his co-pilot landed with his feet in a bucket, and literally fell over, cracked his head, and married his nurse. So, you know, stuff happens in war.
It was a special generation, wasn't it? You have brought in a remarkable document. This is your father's RAF pilot's flying logbook. Yeah. And if we open it up, just tell the viewers what we're seeing here, meticulously documented.
I'll pick up on... Every day they recorded what happened, And in this particular case, we're picking up the story on the 18th of August, which is known... 1940, which is known as the hardest day for the RAF. And he got shot down. He made a mistake of flying the wrong way round a circling bunch of enemy aircraft and got shot down over the sea. And as he went down, he was debating whether to jump out or not jump out and all the rest of it. In the end, he did. And landed in the sea, got rid of all the necessary clothes that might drown him, and then started to swim towards the UK in rather optimistic fashion. 100 strokes to the left and 100 strokes to the right in freezing sea. I mean, anyway, that was going to go nowhere. Anyway, so about an hour and a half later, a rowing boat from a lighthouse bumped into him. He thought it was a log. And they looked down, and there was Dad sort of lolling around like a top in the sea. So they pulled him out, and he insisted on helping row back to there.
He took an oar.
Well, he said it kept him warm, and they gave him some brandy.
He would say that.
One of the aircraft that he was shot down in, as detailed in the logbook, was Hurricane P3966.
That's right.
And it has been restored, hasn't it? I think he was hoping that he would live long enough to see it unveiled.
The restoration of 3966, it was dug up a few years ago after many attempts because it was very low in the sand and the mud. And some great people, and Tom Smith, who's put it together, is restoring it. It's a multi-million-pound project. And the CAA call it a restoration, not a rebuild. Because they've used as many of the existing parts as they possibly can.
And they found it, when they found it, the firing ring was set to fire.
Yeah.
So it showed that the instant at which he bailed out was the instant that he was in combat. He became a bit of a poster boy during the war. We got these pictures of him, which were actually very famous photographs at the time. The one of him staring into the sky was published in American magazines.
Yeah, we have to thank Life magazine for that.
Yes, he was iconic. He represented the essence of the pilots who were fighting the Battle of Britain, didn't
Well, they were trying to encapsulate what the Battle of Britain was to a very large audience, you know, that was not conversant with what's going on. And it was important that America could see that England or Great Britain could actually win a war or win a battle and therefore be worth supporting. And it was very important from a Churchill point of view that he could sell that to the Americans, if that's right.
But he never saw himself as a hero, did he? And that's typical of genuine heroes. He did not put himself in that category.
Well, hero to him sort of represented being separate from other people. You know, this is a hero. But he was married to the 85 Squadron. They were his friends, and to him they were all heroes, and therefore not to be separated. But when you do your job and, you know, and obey orders and all the rest of it, he didn't see that as really being heroic. His job was to shoot down, actually turn airplanes back. They didn't care whether they shot them down or not, as long as they didn't bomb.
Yeah. And, of course, he saw those who didn't come home as the true heroes of the war, didn't he?
Heroes is a very loaded word.
Yeah. Can I ask, Brian, lots of people will want to pay tribute to your father. We've already seen the Prime Minister and the Prince of Wales, of course. Is there going to be a memorial for him?
Yes. I'm being put on the spot here because
you don't have to reveal details publicly if you don't want to.
Yet, right?
OK, well, I'm sure that there is a whole phalanx of officials who will step in to help if you need it.
We'll start selling tickets now, I think.
But there is going to be something.
There is going to be a memorial of some form or other. My brother lives in America, my sister in Canada, so it's a matter of transporting, you know, finding a date.
Yes.
Around. But I hoped. This bit should be cut out, but I hope to do it at least on maybe his next birthday, which is the 17th of July.
That'll be wonderful.
And if we can sort of aim towards that and then get the right people there so they can plan.
Well, we'll be there.
That would be great.
And a statue of your father.
The statue is in the Kent Battle Britain Museum. It's a full-size statue. It's an amazing piece of art, actually. Last question to you, because we're over time now, what would he have made of what's been said about him and written about him and broadcast about him in the last 24 hours? He would have been slightly amused and slightly baffled. What's all the fuss? Because he didn't talk to anyone for 40 years, you know. But he was pleased about it. I think, overall, he recognised that the RAF... won the war. Well, it took 200,000 people to get down into an aeroplane. Yeah, they had to make them, they had to service them, the WAF, plotters, and so he doesn't feel he should be the person who should take the accolade. The RAF did. The RAF didn't so much win the war, they didn't lose the war, in the sense that Hitler, therefore, didn't try to invade. I'm sorry, I have to quote something that he said during his life, that when he was fighting the Germans in Italy at the end of the war, and they were proving tricky to push out of Italy, he described his flights into action as helping the Germans with their retreat. That's RAF humour. That's so RAF humour.
Brian,
so
thank you so much for being
waffling
with
on,
us.
but anyway.
No, goodness me, we could listen to you all morning.
I'm very cheap. You just let me know.
Thank you. We really appreciate you coming in and talking to us and also sharing this. I've never seen one. My grandfather served in the RAF during the Second World War, and I've never seen this, the pilots flying. He was an engineer. My last comment, if you get a bunch of pilots and you open this up, they don't talk to you. They just look at this for half an hour. I bet. What a document. What a document.